And we're back. Grab a cup of whatever you feel like drinking. I've already had my 2 cups of coffee, so I'm hydrating. And let's go from this to this. Glowy, peachy. Here we go. So refreshing. I'm turning 45 in a couple of days. And I thought, in the midst of that adventure, and I thought, people are like, what did I learn in 45 years? And then they have 45 things that they've learned. And I like that kind of stuff. But instead of doing that, this is the Air Perez Oat Milk Foundation. Everything that I use, by the way, is going to be linked below in the description. And if I have a scorecard for it, I will link that as well. That's like the backbone of everything I do. So that'll be there. But instead of doing 45 things that I've learned in 45 years, I was thinking I'm in the middle of kind of, I don't know, unlearning, doing this whole like unlearning thing, and yet learning a lot as I unlearn. So if you could follow that, cheers to you. Like I said, 45, that's my brain. So I thought, let's just try and do 45 days on YouTube. And if I'm thinking like my fitness coach, my trainer, he would be like, are we going to try? Or are we going to do? So he's the best, but he's also kind of tough. But that's why we love him. Anyway, that's what I'm doing with my 45th birthday. I don't know what you're doing, but I hope you have a moment to just sit down, or maybe you're just doing stuff and I'm the background noise, which totally understandable. I do that all the time with YouTube, and just kind of like take in the calm and play with makeup. I'm going to talk about some new things. I'm going to talk about some old things. I'm going to talk about some random things. Is get ready with me, but get ready with B. Get ready with B. Maybe we're starting that. Maybe it's you and me doing that right now. I don't know. This is the Amicole. Can you tell I love Amicole brushes? They have great products too. Do not get me twisted. I really like some of their products, but man, I am still using the Air Perez because her skin is healing. The barrier is much better. It's actually a pretty quick heal for the face. There were other areas on the body where I used a new lotion, and that was what I showed in the other video. It was like right around my neck area. Super fun, super cute, sensitive skin girls, women, ladies, people, humans. You get it. That's actually one of the first things that I wanted to mention to you. You're not going to see this brand here often, but I was looking around. I was chat GPTing. I was Redditing, and I got a lot of information, which you can do online, and a lot of it's not factual. But I did learn about the CeraVe moisturizing cream. I know you guys are like, yeah, welcome to the club, CeraVe, welcome. I knew about CeraVe, but they were saying that if you're using a cortisone cream, which I had to use to just tamp things down for a little bit, you don't want to use it for a long time. I am not a doctor. This is for entertainment purposes. Don't do what I'm doing. Seriously, you don't have to do it. But if you're curious about what I did, anecdotally speaking, I used the cortisone cream, and I don't want to do that for a long time. And the CeraVe, they said, put that on. You can use aloe. They is like the collective they, and it'll help the skin barrier. So I did my cortisone cream. I'm tapering off of it. And then I applied the CeraVe last night. No, like the irritation has gone down by 70% at least. I am pleasantly surprised. I'm so happy with this. You can get it anywhere. It's just very exciting. And I'm just going to keep using it because why not? The Ogee concealer. I bought 2 because I was trying to shade match. When you're shade matching online, by the way, I don't know if you're like me, but I have Alder, which has a pink undertone, which I tend to really like for under the eye for myself. And then I have Cedar. Cedar is what I have in the other products from them. This is their tinted serum color I have. So this is not necessarily the brightening option, but it should brighten a little bit. I'm going to go with Alder first. When you're shade matching, or when I'm shade matching, I look at all the pictures. Ooh, that looks very bright. And I specifically go with the picture that has swatched multiple colors on different arms, shades, different arm skin types. Those are the pictures. If you're ever wondering how I do it, and I'm not 100% at this, but if you're ever wondering how to do it for yourself and you're like, I looked at all the pictures, and sometimes when they show them on someone's face, like right here, I just don't find that helpful. That is going to be brightening. Not too brightening. It has a neutral undertone. I don't know where that accent came from. But I'm taking the concealer brush and I am pushing it into the product. This is how I do it. This prevents too much product on the brush, and push until you think you've gone too far, because then I think you're pretty much on point. But anyway, that is the picture. You know the picture. And I didn't see that on their website, unfortunately. If you're really stuck, a lot of people have samples. They have shade match finders. There's all kinds of tools out there and resources that you can try. But that picture, you know the one, hopefully. That is the one that helps me make the right decision 90% of the time. This is looking very good. This is looking very good. It does smell fruity. I don't understand why we make scented things. Well, you wear the concealer all over the face, but it's like my eye's not going to smell the fruit. So, first impression here, very, very strong. It is not thick. It is not heavy. I purchased these. No one's paying me to say the following. You're always going to get my BS free honest opinion over here, no matter what. If they send it to me, they know you're still going to get my honest opinion. It's been that way for 8 years and thousands of products. And it will be that way for as long as I do this, which TBD, but hopefully for a while. So I'm actually still going back into the palm, and you think it's done for. It's not. It's still picking up. And you can just kind of press in. That also prevents the kind of, in my opinion, for me, I'm not a makeup artist, but for me, that prevents the whole like the high contrast circle you get here. There's so many different schools of thought on how somebody over 40 should be doing their concealer. I do have a little bit of crepiness. I'm lucky I don't have a ton of it yet, but I have my things. I have my things. So some people are going to be like, cool, show it to me on somebody who has super crepey skin. There are people all over the internet that can show you that. I'm just telling you, when I do it, I apply mostly here, and then I kind of use just the residual here. I also use concealer because, as you can tell, I have translucent skin basically, so I like to get an even canvas before I put anything on. Let's do the other eye, kids. I think alder is a good shade. I'm not sure about cedar. Maybe I can do that. I'll swatch it on my hand. But this is very easy to work with. And I'm not seeing a little bit of sitting on top, but this is the very first impression. And I try, as you know, if you're a subscriber, I try so many different application methods. I try all kinds of different application methods, and I really recommend you do the same because you could really hate a product and you just have the wrong brush. Honestly, seems ridiculous. 8 years ago, I would have been like, cool, whatever. This product sucks. But it could have just been my brush. The coverage is, as you can tell, very, very, very strong coverage very quickly. I even like to do concealer off camera sometimes because it can take a minute for me. It's just, it can be a little bit fussier. And something to note is that this is not fussy at all. This is really easy to apply, really easy to work with. So that is a very strong first impression. Very, very strong. You guys know I'm like cautiously optimistic in this world. Also, I did not patch test this. Do not do that, especially after you have a skincare reaction. I'm not going to apply it to the rest of my face because I don't want to chance it. So that's like almost perfectly matching my skin tone. It's a little bit on the yellow side, but I think that will probably be, yeah, it has more of a yellow undertone on it. Neutral undertone. That other one was pink neutral. This feels more golden neutral, but I like it. I really like the alder. But I think having both, oftentimes I just wear tinted moisturizer and I use concealer to just get rid of any redness that I might have. That is my go-to for summer. 9 times out of 10, that's what I'm doing. And then I'm just wearing stuff on top. Okay. Next up, we have 2 different powders that I'm going to be testing. So we have the Westman Atelier. This is $75. And then we have, well, you've already seen the Kosas. This is the Cloud Set powder. And it has its setbacks. There's tons of plastic here. It hard panned really quickly, as you can see. But I can get beyond that. It really blurs so, so well. So I'm going to try the Westman on top of this and see how it works. Here we go. It's beautiful, tiny little compact. And I have tried this, but I wasn't really focusing the last time I tried it. So I'm just packing it onto the little triangle here. And let's see. Setting powders are really so much better when you compare them side by side. I think the Kosas is around 30. Obviously, you don't just have to use this to set under your eye, but something like this is a really good option for that, usually because it's a fine powder. Mm, that's pretty great at setting. I'm not getting as much blur with this as I do the Kosas. Again, I think if you haven't tested crazy amounts of powders, then you're kind of like, me, it works. That would have been me at least. But there are these like subtle differences. I think the Kosas doesn't give as much coverage in the setting powder as the Westman. Granted, I haven't built it yet, so let me build it. But I don't think it's the one that's like super covered. The Westman, I think, could potentially skew slightly powdery if you overdo it, but barely. They're pretty close. I think if the Kosas, I'm also looking at the colors, and I think the opacity again on the Westman is a little bit stronger and better. These are the lights I know, but these lights also help me give an apples to apples take on things, because if I just look at natural light, then it's skewed. You know, the golden hour, that's not telling you what it actually looks like. I'm going to try this brush with the Westman on the left eye. This is a great way to apply it if you don't want things to look cakey. Just barely press and tap the brush, and then I can bring it down the rest of the face. Yeah, I think I'm getting a stronger opacity with the Westman, and I think the Westman comes in other shades. And by opacity, I actually mean the color of it. It's muting and kind of giving that mattify. I don't know how to say it, but it's not a color. It's just, it's like white. It's mattifying better, stronger mattifying. Does that make more sense? Do you know what I mean? Am I making any sense? I don't know. But I feel like it is setting a little bit better. It's mattifying a little bit better. Kosas is doing a great job, a very, very good job, and it's a very big price difference. So could you just stand to have the Kosas and deal with that? Totally. But now I want to see on these lines with the Westman. Because when I press the Kosas with the triangle, these lines start to vanish. I learned that on, like, I don't know, probably YouTube. But especially on humid days, and you start to see those fine lines kind of come through, yeah, it does a pretty good job. Does it hold throughout the day? I don't know. The Kosas I know is very strong in terms of wear test, but we can see. I can do a side by side for that. But I think out of the gate, the Westman is giving a really strong setting, kind of mattifying feeling. It doesn't feel cakey. It doesn't look powdery. There's no kickback. The powder has not hard panned on me. I think Kosas, you can be a little bit, you kind of have to be a little bit more rough with. And then, that's what I'm talking about. You can press it in, and it really does like do this magical blurring thing. So sorry for the vocal fry. That was bad. That was so bad. Come on. It's that like elder millennial coming through kind of. Anyway, I like them both. I like them both. And if you want to save 40-ish bucks, I think Kostas is doable, but the Westman is pretty impressive. It's the start of it. You tell me what you think. So far, so good. Ogee, yes. Westman, yes. Somebody actually recently asked me about Gen C and my thoughts. This is in Rosewater. I do like this cream eyeshadow. I just find it to go to dry too quickly. I think I have it in Reef. This is a more subtle color. This is like the perfect everyday for me. I love peach tones right now. I don't know what's going on. This is more rose, like a subtle rose shade. It's gorgeous. It blends pretty easily. Some of their darker shades I find to blend a little bit more. It's a little bit trickier, not in the beginning, but they tend to dry out for me. Maybe I'm not closing it tight enough. I don't know. Have you had that experience? But I do really, really like their mixed media, and I really like the brand. I've never worked with them. I've never really spoken to them, but I do like that brand. That blended so easily. If you want an everyday neutral, holy crap, I love this. Oof. We are having lots of wins today. This is a very good day. My mouth is dry again. This is the Sarah Creel Balm. The adults are talking. It's pretty funny. This is in shade Energetic. I happen to love this balm. I have been wearing it for weeks now, and I love it. It's expensive. Sarah Creel is expensive. Can you find a balm elsewhere that's nice? Yes, she has great shades. There you go. I do have an update, though, on a lip product. I'll give you that in a second. Otherwise, we're just going to warm the face up, throw on some mascara, and where is my mascara? And we done. I'll do the eyes first. So the other thing that happened today, so I've actually started doing breath work. If you haven't read the book Breath, I will put a link to it below. It is such a cool book. It's not a self-help. This is more of guy did an experiment on breathing. It just ruined, I'm sorry. I've talked about it over here. Look at the summary out there and check it out. But I've learned so much about what's happening modern day, how our faces are shrinking and how breathing is so important, the jaw and all of it. And you learn just the biology behind it, the evolution behind just breath, things that we take for granted every second of every day. And he plugged his nose for, I don't remember how long, but a long enough time and became a mouth breather. He talks about the effects of mouth breathing. I'm not going into like tape your mouth at night, do all the rest of it. But it is pretty interesting to see the significant effects of mouth breathing versus breathing through your nose and what that can do to not only your face shape, your jaw shape, but your body. And the way he explains it is through different scenarios and experiments and other people's stories. So you're getting interesting examples. It's not just like a dense book about biology, because that would be kind of, I mean, I would love it, but it could be kind of boring. Tower 28 Make Waves. I like it. I know that's made for sensitive skin and eyes, and an ophthalmologist tested. For some reason, it kind of irritates my contact lenses. Just because it's happening for me really doesn't mean it's going to happen for you. It's a great mascara, a good little go-to mascara. And this is in the brown shade. I forget the name. I have a label for when it's kaput. So the Breath book, I have incorporated pieces of that. Tower 28 bronzer. Very excited. Haven't used this in forever. Sculptino. This is a contour. This is in shade Getty. I used to love this. I have it in broad. Broad is more subtle if you're scared of things like this, which, like, I get it. It can be a little much, but not for me. She loves the bronze. So I combined what I learned about the Wim Hof method loosely, and then what I learned from this book, Breath, and I created a morning breathwork routine. It's very basic. So get your pen and paper out. And by the way, again, I'm not a doctor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. Don't do this. Talk to your doctor before you do anything. Talk to your doctor before you breathe. Okay? I'm just kidding. Breathe in for 5, breathe out for 5, forcibly. So you breathe in, you take air into your stomach, and then you take air into your chest. That's going to sound weird. Look it up. You'll get some examples of it. It feels weird at first. So you go, I do it all through my nose. I do not breathe out of my mouth. If I really need to calm down, or if I'm just kind of hyper, you can breathe out for longer. That activates your parasympathetic nervous system, evidently. Check the data. Feels great. All I know is it feels great. So you breathe in for 5, you breathe out for 5, and it's not just, it's getting all the air out of your lungs. You're really exercising your lungs and your capacity. So you do that for about 20 times. I think Wim Hof is 30 times, 2 times in a row. I usually do this in the morning and I will fall back asleep sometimes. So I can't do that. So I just do it for 20 times. That's just what I like to do. And then at the very end of that round, you breathe in. Once you hit 20, you breathe out, breathe in, hold it for as long as you can. And if you do this, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes every morning. You will notice that when you hold your breath, your lung capacity improves. That is not shocking to most of us, but I was holding it for 30 seconds. Then I was holding it for 50 seconds. Then I was holding it for 65 seconds. And it's pretty fast. It's pretty amazing what the body does. So I did it this morning and I started wearing my Fitbit again because I'm working on getting my steps up. And before I sat down, I don't think I slept super well. Really enjoying this Milk makeup. It's plastic laden, but it great. Again, peach. This isn't fizz. It's like really hard to mess up. So I'm sitting down this morning. I'd had a little bit of coffee. Ideally, you do this before coffee. And did my process. When I looked at my Fitbit, it was 99 heart rate. It's a little high. It's a little, I don't know why we're so high. 99 was a little high for me. For like chilling in the morning on the couch. That was a little high. So I was like, okay, definitely want to do this and calm down. Went down to 60. In 10 minutes, it activated my parasympathetic nervous system. I felt like I could think clearly. And I know we know that breathing is good. I know you hear this from like wellness and holistic. This is just your little friendly reminder. Breathing is, it is real good. Do it. Like, just do it. And I think you should try this if you can, unless you have a medical issue. You do whatever you want to do. But I'm really bad at disclaimers. Um, if you can and are able, I would give it a shot and just see how you feel after and let me know. Because it might just be me going insane, like loving it, because I can tend to do that. I'm also very in tune with what's going on in my body. It's just who I am. I know a lot of people who are like, oh, I just threw up. I didn't feel like that was coming. I will know it's coming. I will know like hours before. So maybe that's just me feeling in tune with the body. Maybe not. This is the AirPress Cocoa Crayon. I've got it on sale on in the shade Babe. And I love this shade so much. It's a fun pink. So give the breathing a try. That's your little thing to learn today that's not makeup related. This is the Iris and Romeo lip gloss. I haven't had it for long. It's starting to get that subtle metallic scent. Not my fave. It turned a little fast on me. Could have been the batch, but I'm also double bummed because love this. I love this. And unfortunately, somebody just asked me maybe a week ago. They were very curious about the scent. If it was over here and if that is you, and I said it has a makeup scent. It did have a makeup scent. It wasn't very strong. However, it's turned a little bit. Has a little kind of a weird scent right now. So, whoa, flyaways. Hello. All right. So with that, this is the full look. I liked almost everything that I tried today. Let's check the Ogee and see if it's creasing. With all that powder, it shouldn't. Okay, something interesting. I can feel the moisture under the Westman. I don't feel it as much under the Kosas. So I think Kosas, that's weird because you would think I would feel it under the one that's a little bit more mattifying. So Westman could be a little bit more breathable as well. Kind of interesting. I'm gonna wrap this up with something that I've really tried to do recently, which is what's going right in my life. So I'm going to do 3 things that are going right in my life because 2025, I've noticed I had a tendency to look at everything that could go wrong versus what went right. So that's what this is about. And at 45, I feel like now's a really good time to just start reinforcing that. If you want to mention what's going right for you, if you want to activate that muscle and reframe things with me, I'd love it. You do not have to do that. You can ask me anything you want to know about the makeup I tried. Things that are going right. Sarah May. It's true. It is going right. Blue was feeling good today. She had energy like I haven't seen in months, guys. Months. And what else is going right? This is the second out of a string of get ready with bees or get ready with me that I'm doing. So I did it. I did 2 in a row. It's pretty good. Okay, it's your turn. Tell me what's going right in your life, even if it's hard and you feel like you can't find it. I kind of want to know. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you had some fun getting ready with me, and I will be right back here real soon. Until then,